Okay, so you're tuning in because you want the essential info fast. Right. Let's get straight to it.
Absolutely.
We're diving into a pretty interesting development. It's about the U.S. military's operations down at the southern border.
Specifically within the New Mexico National Defense Area, the NMNDA.
Right, this sort of designated security zone.
Yeah.
And our mission today, to really break down a press release, it's from Peterson Space Force Base, dated April 21st, 2025.
Yeah, and figure out what these changes actually mean on the ground.
Exactly. So this press release, it talks about some notable shifts in authority, doesn't it? For USNORTHCOM service members there.
It does. What's really striking is how their role seems to be expanding within this specific area.
Good, let's unpack that. The release says that since late March 2025, Joint Task Force Southern Border, that's JTFSB.
The military task force for that region.
They've been doing enhanced detection and monitoring in the NMNDA. What does that look like in practice?
Well, the release mentions mobile ground-based support. Think military vehicles, personnel on foot patrols. And importantly, they're doing this in zones assigned by Customs and Border Protection, by CBP. So there's coordination.
Right, it's a joint effort. Now, here's the big pivot, I think. The NMNDA is now officially part of U.S. Army Fort Huachuca.
That's the key administrative change, yes.
So how does linking it to Fort Huachuca affect what the JTFSB folks can actually do?
That's the crux of it. Because it's now part of the fort, these personnel operating within the NMNDA get new specific authorities.
For what purpose?
For installation security support. It seems to go beyond just, watching and reporting back.
Okay, so what are these new authorities? Let's get into this specific.
Right. The release lists several. First, they can temporarily detain trespassers.
Detain them?
Temporarily, yes. Until law enforcement like Border Patrol arrives to take custody.
Okay, that's quite direct. What else?
They can also conduct what the release calls cursory searches of these individuals.
Cursory searches, meaning?
It's framed as being for the safety of the service members and protecting DoD property. So likely a quick visual check, maybe a pat down for immediate threats, safety first.
That makes sense from a force protection standpoint.
Yeah.
Anything else in terms of interacting with people they find?
Yes. Also the authority to use crowd control measures if needed. Again, the justification is protecting personnel and property. Mm-hmm. And this one's quite significant. They're authorized to provide emergency medical support.
To the trespassers?
Yes, if there's an immediate risk. The release specifies preventing loss of life, limb, or eyesight. Basic humanitarian aid in an emergency.
Interesting. That adds a different dimension. It's not just security actions then. Is there infrastructure stuff too?
Correct. They can also help install temporary barriers, put up signs, maybe fencing.
On whose order?
If requested by the Fort Huachuca Command. And it has to follow specific military standards or, direct orders from the senior commander there.
The press release also quotes General Gregory Guillot, the USNORTHCOM commander. What was his main point?
He really emphasized that these new authorities are meant to ensure anyone entering the NMNDA illegally is handed over efficiently to CBP or other law enforcement.
So streamlining that handoff process.
Seems like it. He also reiterated the methods JTFSB uses the vehicle and foot patrols, plus aerial support and fixed surveillance sites. Standard detection stuff.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit.
Yeah.
What's the fundamental role of USNORTHCOM in all this, according to the release?
It states pretty clearly that USNORTHCOM is DoD's lead for carrying out the president's southern border executive orders.
Meaning they're filling gaps.
Essentially, yes. Providing capabilities that the Department of Homeland Security and CBP need, filling critical gaps for them.
All right, let's try and tie this all together then. The main takeaway seems to be that integrating the NMNDA into Fort Huachuca, well, it wasn't just a name change.
Not at all. It directly led to military personnel there getting much broader authority over how they handle trespassers.
Going from just detection and monitoring
to temporary detention, safety searches, crowd management, even emergency medical aid, and some infrastructure support. It's a definite expansion of their operational scope within that specific area.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.